various locations via the miracle of Skype, it's the 40th anniversary season of the LTN Hour. Let's talk NASCAR with your host, Todd Bailing, co-hosts Brian Schmidt, PJ Noodleman, and producer Dangerous Dan Margetta. Call the show anytime at 414-421-7901. And now, the creator and host of the fastest hour in radio, Todd Bailing.
Hey, nice to have you. Okay, we've had enough rain now. I hope the farmers are happy. I know the race promoters aren't. Todd Bailing in beautiful Linden Station, Wisconsin, joined by my three co-hosts, beginning with Brian Schmidt, who's over in Utzberg, USA. Hi, man.
Yeah, no kidding. Water everywhere, and it's been a nightmare. And the farmers don't want it anymore either, let me tell you. Knowing a lot of them and helping a lot of them, it was this is not good for what they got going on. Looks like rivers in some of their fields. So plants don't grow in rushing water.
PJ Noodleman over on the other side of the state there in Trempealeau. Hi.
Hey there. We got wet, but we did not get the nasty weather that was south of us.
And it was south and east. Oh, my God. Dan Margetta, our producer, director, and all-around good guy over in St. Francis, Wisconsin. Hi, Dan.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, I've seen enough rain this weekend. I can go away. It looks like it's going to – what we had here might be heading out east, for the New Hampshire race.
Unfortunately, they have had nothing but problems out at New Hampshire where they're racing today. First of all, they moved the start of the race up by half an hour, thinking that might help. It's a 301 lap race, kind of a strange number, I realize. It starts at 106 rather than it was supposed to start at 136 or something. So I moved it up a half an hour. But the temperature's in the 70s, okay. But there's a 90% chance of precipitation. And if it gets rained into tomorrow, there's a 55% chance of precipitation tomorrow. But this is a perfect example of why we have these fancy rain tires. They're not really for rain, though, are they? It's more for just a wet racetrack, correct?
Yeah, you don't want to run it when you have actually, big time rain coming down. I mean, some sprinkles, mist, stuff like that, you can race it in. I mean, they started the Xfinity race yesterday on the wet track. It really saves a lot of time. I mean, if you get a situation where you have weepers and you have, high humidity where you can't get the track to dry, kind of like what they had at Charlotte on the mile and a half. You can't run these on the mile and a half stuff, but on these miles like that, you can do that. So if it stops, raining heavily and you don't have standing water, you can get this race started today.
Yeah, it's unlikely as far as I'm concerned. I'm not a meteorologist and I don't even play one on radio, but I don't really think that this is going to make it in today. I just have a bad feeling that 151 laps are going to be kind of hard to achieve at this point. So I guess.
Another thing on those tires is they mandate when you can use them, right? I mean, everybody's got to put wet tires on, everybody's got to put dry tires on. They won't let the teams choose between each one right now, right? Because they're still so new.
Yeah, which is kind of unfortunate. I mean, there's some people out there that wish you could go to the like yesterday. Yesterday, NASCAR decided, all right, we're gonna stop and we're gonna switch everybody over to the slicks. I mean, I don't know. We've been doing this a couple of years now. Let's let the teams make the decision. Let them, keep running. That's what they do in the road racing series and in IndyCar. You decide when you want to put them on, and your driver will tell you if I'm burning these tires up or not. So hopefully in the next couple of years, hopefully next year, they'll just let them figure it out on their own. They got plenty of engineers there and people that would be able to figure that out.
And wouldn't that add an extra layer of drama?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Love drama.
Even when it starts getting wet, if it starts to sprinkle or something, let's let the teams decide if you want to keep going or not. I mean, yeah, you could wad them all up, but you do that a couple times, they won't do it again. They'll learn to put the tires on a little sooner.
This was the first race for the NBC gang on USA. They had, last week actually was their first race at Iowa. They had a pretty good race on their hands last week at Iowa. Of course, being that Dan and I were working at Slinger, we didn't exactly get to see it live. Did you watch the whole thing, Dan, during the week? I never did see it. I know who won. Blaney wins, and it's not just Blaney wins, but PJ picked the winner. I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Thank you very
but
much.
I don't know if did you two or any of you three watch the race?
I saw the majority of the race, and I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, you didn't have the passes for the lead, but NBC showed you the racing that was going on around the track. So there was a lot of multiple grooves, a lot of dicing it up in the back. Unfortunate that Kyle Larson got caught up in that wreck, because I think he was another car that was really good that probably could have had something for Blaney at the end. But I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen a race at a place where the people, we had like the place was absolutely packed. I mean, there were no open seats anywhere. Yeah, it only holds like 25,000, but it was still full, and the people had a lot of enthusiasm for the event. So I think I think they hit a home run out there, and hopefully they realize that you don't need to be going to the coasts and the big cities and places like that. And did you realize it's the first time NASCAR was at a new short track since the early 70s, they said.
Oh, good God. Well, by all accounts, successful for the state and that area and the event itself, and all positive vibes. And gosh, we need to hear positive vibes. They even had good numbers on television, one of the better numbers of the year. So NBC is off and running. Good for them. I hope it stays and the ball stays in their court and everything goes well. So today, on the other hand, New Hampshire, they're going to have to do their song and dance. See, as it starts raining, you have to start killing time and bringing all these interviews out that you've talked to oh boy, doesn't everybody love that? In the happy hour they had, and somehow it must have been it was an abbreviated practice session. They had no qualifying whatsoever. They went by the metric, and that's why Chase Elliott starts from the pole. But the last happy hour speeds, they had Carson Hocevar was fastest in happy hour. Michael McDowell was second. Keselowski, Willie B was fourth, and Zane Smith was fifth. Now, there's three names you just don't usually see in your happy hour times. But what we really need to do is get this race in today. They did manage to get the Xfinity Series in yesterday, and they put on a whale of a show. Okay, who watched the end of that thing? I listened on the radio. It was pretty spectacular.
Yes, I saw it. That was spectacular. That's about all I saw of it, was the last couple laps of it, but it was. I mean, Cole Custer had the dominant car, and you have to kind of feel for him, but he just got schnookered on that restart. And then you had, Sheldon Creed, who's still looking for his first win, who by all accounts looked like he was going to get it, finally get that thing taken care of. He finally got inside of him and passed him, and here comes Seabell from third to the lead. Bye-bye, guys, and he went on and won it. And he's perfect in the Xfinity Series there.
Yeah, fourth straight there. Can you believe that?
That's Creed's 10th second place finish. I guess it ties the record now for most second place finishes without winning.
Bridesmaid.
A new day, Harry Gant, huh?
Exactly. And when I first saw the results, I saw he finished second again. Is he ever going to win? Maybe he can't do it. But when I saw the replay, I give him credit. He tried for it. It wasn't like he just settled for second. I mean, he moved Custer out of the way to go get that spot to try to get that first one, and just kind of didn't plan on Bell coming on the inside like that.
It was
and the cool part is,
you go ahead.
They interview Cole Custer afterwards, and Cole said, they asked him, what do you think about getting moved out of the way? He goes, well, I would have done the same thing. He said, that's what it is. It wasn't anything egregious, so it was cool to see. Not, Cole wasn't all upset like you see Austin Hill every single time he gets moved. Cole says that's racing, and that's what you do, and I don't blame him for trying it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Afterwards, I was listening to the interviews on radio, and I'll be darned, but they all completely said, yeah, that was just hard racing, and nobody was complaining. As a matter of fact, they were saying wonderful things about it, and good for them. I like to hear that. Little mutual respect and a good show, and Christopher Bell goes on to win yet again. Just amazing all the way around. There's been some weird things going on this week. Well, I tell you what, it's going to be an interesting show. First, we're gonna dip our toes into some open wheel stuff. Oh, we all love that, and we're going to come back with that right after these messages.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines. Just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company in the heart of Wisconsin is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at wagnerautomotive.com.
This week, the Soybert Calf Ranches Super 6 Late Model Series returns on American Flag Night at the Fair Park in Plymouth. Watch as many of the best late model drivers in the state battle for the checkered flag. More wheel-to-wheel racing will be featured with the always exciting Sprint Cars, Grand Nationals, and B-Mods. No racing next weekend with the Wall of Fame ceremony set for July 13th. Late model Sprint Cars, Grand National, B-Mods, and Vintage Mods. Gates open at 4:30, opening ceremonies at 6. We'll see you there.
The summer heat is on, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800. Or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
How you doing out there? Summerfest 2024. 9 days of live music featuring over 600 artists. Get the latest lineups, food and beverage experiences, and more at summerfest.com.
As we all know, we're getting ready to have the Indy cars back at the Milwaukee Mile. Happens on Labor Day weekend. And I was just thinking about this. You know, I can remember back in the day when it was a 200 lapper, always the Miller 200 and whatnot. And then as time went on, we got up to a 225. And I think this is the first that I can remember. It's going to be twin 250s Saturday and Sunday. The communications director for the Hy-Vee Milwaukee 250, Merrill Kane, joins us on the program right now. Merrill, first of all, welcome to Let's Talk NASCAR. Perfect place for you.
That's right. Well, you know, we got a little bit of room for IndyCar in there too, right? So obviously, big race day today on the NASCAR side as well as IndyCar. So it's good to be with you guys, and yeah, looking forward to having IndyCar back at the Milwaukee Mile, the historic Milwaukee Mile, for the first time since 2015. And as you mentioned, yeah, back-to-back days, something we've never done before in Milwaukee with 250-mile races, back-to-back days on Saturday and Sunday on Labor Day weekend. It's going to be a good time at a place that Milwaukee's a place that I think has really embraced IndyCar racing over the years, and it's great to have the sport and the personalities and all the fans back at the track.
Yeah, you think about it. We used to have the Rex Mays 150. That was always after the 500. Bettenhausen 200 was coming later in the year, so we had two races all the time, and we're just going to put them all in one weekend now, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of you want to have a good bang for your buck, and on a holiday weekend, where else would you want to do that, right? So, you know, there's cars on track with both IndyCar and Indy Next by Firestone, formerly the Indy Light Series, right? That's going to be on track Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we've got an Indy Next race in there on Saturday before the IndyCar race. So, yeah, Saturday and Sunday are both race days. But, yeah, it's going to be a good time. And I think when you think about, bang for your buck and all that, a lot of racing, but there's also a lot of stuff going on off the track. And something new that we're trying this year is the free fan zone, which fans don't even need to purchase a ticket to come be a part of that, which is just on the avenue right behind the grandstands there with a lot of the vendors and a lot of the fair activities that you see during Harvest Fest are going to be activated and active, and hopefully we get to make a few new race fans that weekend too.
That sounds awesome. Now, 2 weeks ago, right after the Road America race, the teams packed up from Road America and made the 40-mile trip down to Milwaukee and took part in a test on Tuesday. And it's kind of interesting to see, I think, 20 of the 27 teams were there, I believe, for that test. So that's a really good turnout. I guess talk a little bit about what the guys were saying after some of the making some laps there. All but 3 of them have never raced there before. So a lot of good words coming from a lot of those guys.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think number one, it was good for teams, and like you said, 20 out of the 27 cars we expect to see on race weekend, Ganassi Racing, for example, and Juncos Hollinger Racing were not there. And Ganassi was preparing to go over to Le Mans, or that week of Le Mans, so they were unable to make it. But they're going to be testing there at the beginning of July. But yeah, it was really number one, to get a chance to see the track, first time in a long time for a lot of these guys and for a lot of the teams, certainly with the new car setup that they have since 2015. And then also the thing that was notable about the test was the first one with the new hybrid power unit, which is going to make its debut full-time in IndyCar coming up in a couple weeks at Mid-Ohio. But they'll be running when they come back for Labor Day weekend. It's going to be through the hybrid system that they use. And I think there was a lot of testing the teams wanted to do there, put it through its paces. With the short oval, like in 1 mile oval, flat oval, like the Milwaukee Mile, I don't think they probably were able to test as many elements of it as they would at a road course, but obviously got to have some of that data for going into an oval, and this was a great opportunity for the teams to do that. And I think everybody came up with rave reviews about the hybrid power system. I think that you make your educated guess on some of the other things, that how you set the cars up, and I think teams learned a lot of lessons about that. One of the things that I think that Firestone noted, Firestone is the tire manufacturer, obviously, at IndyCar, that they had a compound that they used for the test, that I think they learned some lessons on that. So we may see a little couple tweaks to the compound when they come back for racing on Labor Day weekend, and obviously want to put on a great show for the fans and have as much passing and action as possible. And hopefully the teams got got more familiar with the track and are ready to go when they roll off the truck there at the end of August.
Yeah, can you expand on the hybrid system a little bit? I mean, we see it in Formula One, we see it with the IMSA a little bit. How is the hybrid system work with these Indy cars? What are the guys going to be able to do with what they're able to harvest for power?
Yeah, I mean, they can use as much or as little of it as they kind of like, right? And I think that was part of what they were trying to do there during the test and get used to it a little bit. It is going to be different. It's definitely a transition, but IndyCar's been testing the hybrid unit now for over a year. The goal was to try to use it at the beginning of the year, but I think for parts purposes, as well as making sure that they have all the kinks worked out, they pushed it back a few more months and wanted to get in testing like what we did at the Milwaukee Mile and have a full, series open test, and then also be able to, test it out on road courses as well. So I think that they've got a pretty good handle on it now. I think from talking to the teams, from talking to some of the engineers, they feel good about it. They're ready to go. So when we roll out in Mid-Ohio in a couple of weeks, we'll go full bore with the hybrid unit and see how that affects the on-track competition. That's one of the greatest things about IndyCar is I think the product on track is second to none. I mean, the racing is great. The passing's great. You see with so many different winners in the series, there's really 10, 12 cars every single week that are certainly capable of winning. And when you come to a wide open oval like what we're going to have at the Milwaukee Mile, you can probably even extend that further down the grid and see, you play the fuel mileage game. You might even have some names that nobody expected to see at the front of the pack. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we got a race today, on tap today. They're out at Laguna Seca. That's one of those cool tracks from way back in the day. You remember the Alex Zanardi, Brian Herta pass in the corkscrew.
That's right.
Many years ago. But Alex Pallou's on the pole today. What are we looking for today out at Laguna Seca?
Yeah, it's one of those classic road courses, right? You mentioned the corkscrew, and always got much like Milwaukee, got a great fan base out there for people who love IndyCar racing. Series went away from that track for a little while, but Canada's been back for a few years. Great support out there in Northern California, so I'm excited to see this. Yeah, Alex Palou, obviously defending champion of the series with Ganassi Racing, and those are the type of tracks that he's really succeeded on and had a lot of good luck at. So I think the challenge is out there to try and compete with Alex today, see what he can do. But it's good to see IndyCar. The other thing that we really like about the series is the fact that these drivers and these cars get to compete on short ovals, big ovals, super speedways like the Indy 500, road courses, classic road courses like what you guys have in Road America, and what they're going to be racing on today at Laguna Seca, and then also street circuits, right? Like Toronto and Detroit and Long Beach. So it's a true test of a driver's skill, and that's what really takes to win the championship. Alex proved that last year, so we'll see what they got for him today. But I think they go racing at 5 o'clock Central Time on USA Network, so hopefully everybody can tune in and watch and see what we see in Laguna Seca.
We're talking with Merrill Kane of the IndyCar Series. Merrill, give them an idea how to get tickets for that fantastic Twin 250 weekend in Milwaukee.
Yeah, back-to-back days on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, great point, and thank you for opening the door there. Yeah, people can go online, wistatefair.com. Our partners at Wisconsin State Fair Park have been great hosting the event and bringing it back here to Milwaukee. So through their website, wistatefair.com, you'll see all the options there. But, man, tickets are as low as – I was looking at it this morning. Tickets are as low as $10 on Friday for GA, and that's where do you get that these days? So great opportunity to, even if you want to do it on a budget, just come out and see the stars of IndyCar and Indy Next as we're getting ready to come back to Milwaukee, and then hopefully come back for Saturday, Sunday packages. There's some great camping packages available, infield parking. You could, do it kind of in a little bit more exclusive way, and there's the Club 250s that you could go to, 400 level tickets, and there's a wide range of what fans can experience there. But highly encourage you to get online because ticket sales have been going really well here, especially the last couple of weeks. They've really picked up. So make sure you go online, wistatefair.com, and get your tickets. Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s weekend. It's August 30th through September 1st. Spend your Labor Day. Where else would you want to be but at a racetrack on Labor Day, right?
There you go. Merrill Kane of the IndyCar Series, thanks a lot for being on. Let's keep in touch, all right?
You got it, guys. Thank you very much. Enjoy the race today.
We'll be back right after these.
Get ready for the return of IndyCar to the Milwaukee Mile.
The NTT IndyCar Series returns to Milwaukee August 30th through September 1st for the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s weekend.
Don't miss the first IndyCar event at the historic 1 Mile Oval since 2015, featuring an NTT IndyCar Series doubleheader with races on both Saturday and Sunday. Check out the free fan fun zone with live music, great food, and family fun all weekend long.
Get your tickets now at wistatefair.com and join us for a Labor Day weekend celebration at the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer, no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer, just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Love it. Embrace it. Right now. The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
I'm still trying to figure it out. An agreement between the NCAA and all 5 of the power conferences. Pat Forty from Yahoo Sports. What's it mean?
What it basically means is that schools can actually pay athletes. That's the new dynamic here, as opposed to trying to farm it out to a collective.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Weekday mornings, 8 to 11 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back. Well, this week, I'm telling you, this whole Stewart Haas thing has been very amusing. There is so much that's still up in the air, and of all the curveballs we were thrown, now we hear that Haas wants to keep one of the charters himself. He's going to call it the Haas Factory Team. Let's go back to the day. Do you remember when Haas was a one-car team? It was number 70. He had Johnny Sauter drive that car, among other people. Dan, I'm sure you remember others, but Johnny is the one that stuck out in my mind. But they never really did much, even though Haas had all the money in the world. The fact is, you have to be able to attract people that can put your equipment into victory lane. And having Johnny Sauter there as a driver. That's fine. Johnny was a fine driver for them. The problem was they didn't have anybody else. They didn't have decent engineers or decent people. So what does Haas do? But he offers up 50% ownership to Tony Stewart to come in and bring in the people. And, oh, by the way, you drive the 14 car. And they won a championship that way, and they won lots of races that way. But this has been kind of a how would you characterize it? A drain on the old pocketbook without having drivers that bring big money sponsors. For a while there, when we had that Danica money, everything was just fine. But, in time, you lose drivers like Tony Stewart who attracted big sponsors, and things start going down. And yes, some of the moves they made were fantastic. They brought in drivers that didn't have to bring money because Haas had the money with them, and we don't need them. And apparently when you run a Formula One team, it takes a lot of money, I guess. So in the meantime, he's going to completely disband the team. Now, Tony Stewart told me face to face that they were going to possibly sell one charter because 3 cars made a much better business model and continue with 3 charters. And as it turns out, it was completely the opposite of what he told me to my face. They're going to keep 1 charter and get rid of 3, or at least that's the way it's looking right now. Just incredible, isn't it?
It kind of is. That kind of came out of nowhere this week, too, that they're going to actually keep 1 and have this Haas factory team. A lot of up in the air what that's going to be. Joe Custer's going to run it, so they're probably going to still keep the 2 Xfinity cars and 1 Cup charter. So we'll see what happens. They didn't say anything about drivers, anything about even manufacturers. People are assuming it's going to be a Ford because it's been Ford all those years, and those Xfinity cars are Fords. But another piece of the puzzle that we didn't have to put in is suddenly, we got a new piece to put in the puzzle. We don't know if we're going to fit it now.
Ford was kicked around this week to be they're going to stay with Ford. Now, I've seen this in an article or two, but I don't, Dan, what sense would it make for them to stay with Ford? First of all, they don't have a deal. So if they stayed with Ford, maybe they could get some sort of deal. But would it be a fully factory 1-car team from Ford?
See, I don't know, because right now, the Xfinity cars are Ford. That's Ford's Xfinity program, is those 2 cars, the 000 and the 98. And I think they build cars for that AMR team that Haley Diggin drives for. So if they don't stay with Ford, what's Ford going to do in the Xfinity series? Do they care? I don't know. So that's one thing that's out there. But what else would will they bring a driver and run a Cup team out of there? Or there was some talk, people are speculating, it's total speculation, maybe they'd lease that charter to somebody and use that money to pay for the Xfinity teams. Trackhouse is looking for another charter. They'll probably buy 1 for Van Gisbergen. What are they going to do with Zane Smith? They got to find something for him or lease another charter. There's an opportunity there if that's the case, although that's Chevy and Ford now. It's going to bring more issues coming to light. So it's so complicated right now. Something's going to all happen eventually. We just got to start putting all the pieces together.
All the pieces together. Joe Custer, who runs it now, is going to continue to run it. By the way, not that anything he did was bad, but there were Tony Stewart was rarely there. Haas wasn't there. Joe Custer was the only one that ran Stewart Haas Racing. So the common thought at this point, and everything you're reading, is that Cole Custer is going to be coming back. He's kind of paid his dues in the, running in the Xfinity series. He's done all right. He's won championships. I mean, come on. Now, he didn't do that well when he had his opportunity, but, you have one driver that this week was, oopsie. Did I say Chase Briscoe? It was a Christopher Bell press conference, and he was asked about Monday meetings and who are the leadership at these meetings, some kind of, lame ass question. And here's what Christopher Bell said. Plenty of times it has been Ty. Plenty of times it has been Martin or me or Denny Hamlin. I don't think there is really a leadership role in that aspect. And whenever Chase comes into the car, whenever we have a new driver in the 19 car.
And how red did his face get? That was something. His face turned 4 shades of red right after saying that.
That poor guy, he drinks truth serum for breakfast. He just can't help it.
He can't help it. So, what a fantastic tweet or X, or what do they call tweets now that it's on X and it's not Twitter anymore? I don't know. Either way, there was an X post by Kyle Larson who said, "Oh, how about that? It's going to be, it was nice being teammates with you, Chase Elliott, now that you're going to the 19 car," because all he said was Chase, you understand. But, well, there's more to it. We'll talk a little bit more about it when we come back, but there's other drivers to think about there.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
This week, the Soybert Calf Ranches Super 6 Late Model Series returns on American Flag Night at the Fair Park in Plymouth. Watch as many of the best late model drivers in the state battle for the checkered flag. More wheel-to-wheel racing will be featured with the always exciting Sprint Cars, Grand Nationals, and B-Mods. No racing next weekend with a Wall of Fame ceremony set for July 13th. Late model, Sprint Cars, Grand National, B-Mods, and Vintage Mods. Gates open at 4:30, opening ceremonies at 6. We'll see you there.
This is The Herd.
Wow, 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 wow.
With Colin Cowherd.
Angel Reese ejected from the game. What you're seeing right now, they call this in Hollywood character development. The WNBA, if you have a choice, and you do, be a little like country music. It's an easy entry. Nobody cares. It's a party.
This is The Herd.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back to LTN. So Adam Stern, you know the name. He's a writer for the Sports Business Journal. He's pretty connected. He writes articles about NASCAR, and they're pretty much dead on. He reported this week that Josh Berry is in, quote, discussion with the Wood brothers. Now, I don't really know what that entails. It might have just been, what's your availability? What kind of money would you possibly bring with you? That's not going to be an issue. Josh Berry didn't bring money. He's an old school racer that was pretty much promoted by Tony Stewart because of his talent. Harrison Burton has laid a big fat egg this year. Let's face it. There's no way around it. He's 33rd in points. He's not he's a back marker in the Wood Brothers car, and nobody needs to see the Wood Brothers car in the back, especially since, for all intents and purposes, it's a Penske satellite car. So, he's due to be replaced. The question would be, who would replace him? Now, Harrison Burton, maybe. Do we think that Jeff Burton is paying out of his wallet to keep the kid in that car? Is that something that?
Well, Harrison is actually, as far as I knew last, he was still signed under that Kevin Harvick management. So I do have a feeling that yes, there is still some funding going there to try to help keep him in a ride.
That makes sense. But is Josh Berry the guy? Well, that's hard to say. There's other people that are floating around, and really, there's guys that we're really hoping that the door might open for them in Cup and that they could move up. But all of a sudden, we have all these drivers from Stewart-Haas showing up. The biggest name, I suppose, would be Noah Gragson, of the drivers that are left anyway. Now that we slipped a little bit, and suddenly we know where one of them is going. But Gregson supposedly has ties to that Bass Pro Shop money. And Richard Childress, yes, does have a history with Bass Pro Shops. And in fact, I believe, isn't it on the 3-car on occasion still to this day?
Oh, yeah, quite often. Yeah, definitely.
So, that would lead you to think that there's a connection there. The problem would be, and like Dan brought up, is the charters. We heard, one of those charters could go. There are still 2 charters available. Trackhouse is going to have to, they don't have much choice. They're going to have to buy one of them because they're they have more drivers than they have spots. Now they have 2 drivers that have to have full-time. Well, they're under contract. How about that? And we have to figure out. One of them is Van Gisbergen, who, as exciting of a driver as he is, I think he's going to need more oval track experience before he's ready to come into Cup. But, Dan, they've got another driver who's shown that he belongs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Zane Smith is out there right now. That's their second one. So those two, they're looking for 2 charters, maybe buy one, maybe lease one, see what happens there. 2311 is looking for a charter for another car. They have Corey Heim kind of sitting there in the wings with Toyota, probably about ready to move up and sooner than later. So there's those cars right there. Then if Childress wants another car, if he's like to get Gregson and the Bass Pro money, well, you need a charter there. There's more cars out there than there are charters, so it's going to be kind of a bit of a bidding war here, I think. And who knows what they're going to be worth? I mean, the deal still hasn't been signed. So, do you part with $20 million like Front Row supposedly did to get one of the Stewart-Haas ones, knowing that, in 6 months from now that you could probably get one a lot cheaper?
And you have Brad. You have Brad and his team dabbling around with a third team as well. If they're going to be one of the front-running Ford teams, which they're showing that they're becoming one of the better Ford teams, and they want to get that third car, they're going to need a charter too if they want to be competitive every week.
So it's all supply and demand, and really the 5,000-pound elephant sitting in the corner is we are at the end of the contract, and we don't even know that the charter system is going to continue. Now, it will, okay? The common thought is, yes, of course it's going to come back, but, on the other hand, we don't have any specifics. And how can you be spending all these millions of dollars on something that could end at the end of the year? It's very, very odd as far as I'm concerned. And there's so many different things to look at. Ryan Preece is going to be the odd man out here. All we know for sure is that Ryan Preece is coming to the Slinger Nationals. That's his ride. He's going to be in a super late model at Slinger. So, but we still have to think, where is Gregson going? Where is Barry going? And we already know now where Briscoe is going, and good for him. By the way, when he said something about number 19, the thought crossed my mind, well, that means they're not planning on bringing the number 18 back yet. All that talk recently, hey, PJ, really, all that talk lately with Bush hemming and hawing and talking about how great it would be to jump ship already over at Childress, and perhaps, they're saving that number 18 for him back at the home front with Joe Gibbs.
Maybe, hard to say.
You got to think about it. Remember back when Stenhouse renewed with that 47 car, and there was talk that part of those ownerships were going to split. Grishecter was going to maybe go somewhere and help out Gibbs for a while, and then Stenhouse right away re-signed with a car that we thought might possibly be going away, but apparently isn't now. So I wonder what's up with that. That kind of got quiet the last couple of weeks, but why would Stenhouse sign with a team that was going to lose some stuff and stay there if the future wasn't really well known? So maybe there's something going on with that 47 car too. I think there's a lot of stuff maybe behind the scenes going to happen that are going to be surprising us as we go on. And we haven't had a silly season like this in a long time, and it's the way it used to be. Out of the blue, things come out and knock you all off your socks. And that seems to be happening this year.
I think a lot of people on social media, the reporters, if you will, that are following NASCAR, a lot of them are trying to put things out there to try to look like they are ahead of the curve. And I think that's doing a lot of misdirection of everything.
Yeah, well, it's working with us. You get a guy that is, of course, you have to look at what they actually said. All this reporter from the Sports Business Journal said was they're in discussions. Well, that means, hey, so you bringing any money? No. Oh, okay. What kind of discussions could you have, and how much money does Josh Berry have behind him? Probably not very much, as far as I'm concerned. But like Dan said, this is like the good old days. One thing we do know, there's a number 66 floating out there. It's MBM Motorsports, and I can't tell you that I'm really familiar with MBM number 66, but what I do know is that Richfield, Wisconsin's Josh Balicki is going to drive the car at Chicago. It's Carl Long's car. I don't think we're going to see him running up front with it.
Hey,
but,
we're on a street course.
Sometimes guys show up out of nowhere and win races in Chicago, right?
Yeah, we're on a street course. Did anybody hear of Shane Van Gisbergen like Friday afternoon? I know Dan and I didn't. I'm like, who's that guy? I didn't know who that guy was.
You mean the race winner? Yeah, that guy. We'll be back.
Get ready for the return of IndyCar to the Milwaukee Mile.
The NTT IndyCar Series returns to Milwaukee August 30th through September 1st for the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250th weekend.
Don't miss the first IndyCar event at the historic 1 Mile Oval since 2015, featuring an NTT IndyCar Series doubleheader with races on both Saturday and Sunday. Check out the free fan fun zone with live music, great food, and family fun all weekend long.
Get your tickets now at wistatefair.com and join us for a Labor Day weekend celebration at the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer, no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer, just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
The summer heat is on, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
This is The Herd. Wow, 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 wow. With Colin Cowherd.
Justin Jefferson, Minnesota, has signed with the Vikings. It feels a little bit like an NBA contract. They have a rookie quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, in an offensive division. J.J. McCarthy's going to need help, and Justin Jefferson attracts double coverage, makes you roll the coverage over.
This is The Herd.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
LTN Hour presents Dirt on the Dirt with Brian Schmidt.
The weather was definitely not kind to dirt racing across the country this week, but we did manage to get some races in. We will start Tuesday night, Beaver Dam. The first time they were able to get a Tuesday night race in probably over a month. They were able to pull it off in the AMC Modified. Skylar Woods was your winner. The stock cars went to Jeremy Christians. They raced up at Eagle River, and the IMC stock car feature was the only feature to be completed before the rain showed up, and Hot Rod Snellenberger, blast from the past, continued his winning ways up there. Also Tuesday night, Davenport, Iowa, the UMP Summer Nationals were there. Tyler Erb continued his domination of that series, picking up the win. Wednesday night, the Summer Nationals moved to Quincy, Illinois, and Max McLaughlin. The McLaughlin name sound familiar? Well, that's Mike McLaughlin. Mike Magic Shoes McLaughlin. That is his son. Running a Super Dirt late model. He picked up his first big feature win Wednesday night in Quincy, Illinois. Brandon, South Dakota, Houston Speedway. This was supposed to be their huge weekend for the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. Preliminary feature night on Wednesday, $20,000 to win. Tyler Courtney grabbed the win, and then it rained and rained and rained and flooded. And if you saw some of the pictures, it got pretty serious. There's a lot of motorhomes that floated away, and people had to be rescued. A really scary situation out in Brandon, South Dakota that wiped out the rest of that huge weekend. They were supposed to be a $250,000 to win race last night, and the entire track is underwater. So hopefully they can get things back together there and reschedule that race at some point. Thursday night, Putnamville, Indiana, the Lincoln Park Speedway, the IRA and Maverick Sprint Car Series out of Indiana got together to put on this 4-race spree through Indiana, and Emerson Axum was your feature winner on Thursday night to start that off. Banner, Illinois, Thursday night, Spoon River Speedway for the UMP Summer Nationals, $5,000 to win. Ryan Unsicker grabbed the win. Sarver, Pennsylvania, the Lernerville Speedway for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series Firecracker 100. They ran twin $5,000 to win features there to start it off. Ricky Thornton Jr. and Jonathan Davenport, very familiar names with the series. They grabbed the preliminary wins on Thursday night. Also Thursday night in Somerton, Tennessee, the Thunder Hill Raceway Park for the World of Outlaw Case Construction Late Models, $10,000 to win. Brandon Shepard grabbed his first World of Outlaw feature win of the season Thursday night. Friday night, just about everything in Wisconsin here rained out. They did run down in Darlington at the Lafayette County Speedway. The Malvern Bank Super Late Model Series, $3,000 to win. Dylan Thornton, an IMCA mod regular, jumped in a late model and grabbed the win there. Madison on the pavement, the USAC Silver Crown Series was there for the Dairyland 100, and Dakota Armstrong grabbed his first ever Silver Crown Series win Friday night there. Bloomington, Indiana, night number 2 for the IRA Maverick Combo Race. Jacob Allen of the famous Shark Racing team showed up and grabbed the money, picking up the win there. Park City, Kansas, 81 Speedway for the USMTS late, Modified Series. Tyler Wolf was your winner. Night number 2 in Sarver, Pennsylvania at Lernerville for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. They ran another pair of $5,000 win features. Drake Troutman and Devin Moran grabbed your win. Brownstown, Illinois, the Brownstown Bull Ring for the UMP Summer Nationals, $10,000 win. Tyler Erb grabbed yet another one of those. Junction City, Kentucky, Ponderosa Speedway for the World of Outlaw Case Construction Late Models. Brandon Shepard made it 2 in a row, grabbing the win there Friday night. Last night, absolutely nothing in Wisconsin raced because of the unbelievable amounts of rain here. Hobstadt, Indiana, the Tri-State Speedway for the IRA Maverick Sprint Car Series. Tyler Courtney made the drive from South Dakota over to Indiana and made it worth his while, picking up the $6,000 win last night in that one. Park City, Kansas, the final night for the USMTS Modifieds there. Jake O'Neill was your winner. Peevely, Missouri, the I-55 Speedway for the UMP Summer Nationals. Tyler Erb again. I think we got a theme going with the Summer Nationals this year. Every year somebody gets hot in that series, and this year it's Tyler Erb. Definitely there. Brownstown, Indiana for the World of Outlaw Case Construction Late Models. Nick Hoffman grabbed your win. And finally, the big money race of the week, since the World of Outlaw Sprint Car race was rained out, was in Sarver, Pennsylvania for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Firecracker 100, $50,000 to win. And you guessed it, Ricky Thornton Jr. won by almost 10 seconds on a track that's smaller than a half mile. He has been just absolutely dominant.
He must be cheating.
He must be. What else could you say? That is everything we have for this week.
Sorry, can't help it. Sorry, I'm not sorry. Last Sunday, the ASA Stars were at the Milwaukee Mile. Dawson Sutton was your winner. Yes, Ty Majeski was DQ'd from P2. Basically, the compression in the right bank was 0.2 over the threshold. Left bank was all good. That can happen when carbon builds up, contributes to that. Dwayne McGonigal, the engine builder of that sealed engine, said he obviously made a mistake in the calculation to not allow for that carbon buildup. It did not contribute to Ty running as well as he did, but for those of you who want to believe that, carry on, my dear. More on it.
That kid did a hell of a job.
He really did. He did. He could have knocked Ty out of the way, and he didn't. He just waited because Ty's handling was going away on the car, and it was a good win for him. So
that was the most impressive part about it too, because usually when you see young kids, a lot of these that have come in that series, they just, as soon as they get close to a guy, they just blast them right out of the way. Never happened. I mean, he just kept racing with him. I don't know if he would have done on the last lap. We'll never know, but he seemed like a pretty clean kid, and first impressions are everything. I have a good first impression of him.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
Agreed. And if Toby finishes mowing the lawn, he might be in here for the Hangover Show to chat more. We'll see. The Midwest Trucks also ran at the Milwaukee Mile. Chester Ace was your winner on that. Slinger ran last Sunday. Todd, I don't know if you want to cover that or if you want me just to throw it out there.
Yeah, it was a classic battle between Steve Apel and Dennis Prunty. They have put on just a whale of battles. Over the years, it's been fun to watch. You expect a lot of contact between those two. Not only was there not contact, but Dennis Prunty ended up winning the thing and gets out and compliments Steve Apel. And when Steve came up to get interviewed, Dennis hugged him. And I said at the time, I've lived long enough to see everything now. It was insane. And they were complimentary of each other. Who are you two, and what did you do with Dennis and Steve? Max Kaler finished third, and that kid from the Kowicki program is standing up and beating his chest. He seems to be the guy here, at least at Slinger. He certainly is a very impressive young man. And tonight, by the way, at Slinger Speedway, even though there's no super lates there, it's the Pro Late Model All-Star Challenge. There are 40 cars entered tonight at Slinger Speedway. It's a 6-race series, and this is round 2 of the series. So big fun at the old racetrack tonight for the Pro Late Model All-Star Challenge Series. I'm sorry, PJ, for jumping in there.
That's okay. It's A-okay. Thursday this past week, Wisconsin International Raceway in Kaukauna, the Super Lates ran. Chad Butts was your winner. Late models TJ Spirowski. Friday had a lot of rainouts, but Grundy did manage to go. Eddie Hoffman was the winner for the Super Lates. Madison was able to get their action in. The USAC Silver Crown was run. Dakota Armstrong was the winner there. Late models ran. Sean Scheel was the winner. ARCA
of Steel.
An ARCA series also ran at the Mid-Ohio Road Course. That was kind of a slobber knocker there as well. William Sawalich ended up being the winner of that. Saturday, rainouts galore, so don't really have much to share from last night. Do have a note, though. The Mid-Am Series is likely going to go the way of the Buffalo unless someone steps up to take it over. Tim Scroggum is trying to sell the series. He just doesn't have enough time to do it, so if you're interested, you can go check out midamracing.com.
And we'll be back.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship-winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
This week, the Soybert Calf Ranches Super 6 Late Model Series returns on American Flag Night at the Fair Park in Plymouth. Watch as many of the best late model drivers in the state battle for the checkered flag. More wheel-to-wheel racing will be featured with the always exciting Sprint Cars, Grand Nationals, and B-Mods. No racing next weekend with a Wall of Fame ceremony set for July 13th. Late model, Sprint Cars, Grand National, B-Mods, and Vintage Mods. Gates open at 4:30, opening ceremonies at 6. We'll see you there.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer, no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer, just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
Summerfest 2024. 9 days of live music featuring over 600 artists. Get the latest lineups, food and beverage experiences, and more at summerfest.com.
And the latest issue, is it called an issue? Of Racing Nuggets came out this week, correct, PJ?
The latest episode, yes. Levon Vandergeest. That's all right. Levon Vandergeest, one of the Kulwicki Driver Development finalists, was our guest on there. You can watch that either on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts. I got to say, though, I think this is probably the best bumper crop we've had for the Kulwicki Driver Development in some time. There's just, you don't really know who's going to win it. There's a lot of contenders, and a lot of them are winning, and maybe it feels that way because more of them are from the Midwest.
Yeah, and we don't really follow too many of the ones that are from outside the area. And when one of them wins, you go, who the hell is that? Well, winning that kind of puts them on the map. Hey, I was going to ask you, Pete, did Ty show up at WIR Thursday night?
I think Riley ran this last Thursday night. I don't know if Ty was there or not.
Oh, okay, because I know he lives in the neighborhood and likes to stop by and win races there once in a while. So interesting there. This week, Daniel Suarez.
Sorry. I think he went back to ThorSport to work on the truck.
Well, that's good. Daniel Suarez became a U.S. citizen this week. Congratulations. That's pretty cool, for sure. Dan, Friday night at Slinger. The good news and the bad news. The good news is that they usually have a great crowd for this Slam Fest thing where they run into each other and it's all ha-ha and everybody has a beer and watches trailers in the middle of the figure 8 track. But it poured, didn't it?
It poured a lot. I mean, the crowd they got was impressive. I mean, it was still packed. There was lines out to the roadway to get in, and it just poured all night long. It was miserable weather conditions, but give it to the people of Slinger, man. They want to have fun. They're going to have fun. And nothing's going to stop them because, I mean, I was up on the deck. I had it easy up to record it. Obviously, you can't be up there in the water with, electronic equipment and cameras and stuff. So they had an easy up tent. And that thing was collecting water on the roof, and it was collapsing as it was going on. If you see some of that replay, you'll see part of the tent and the camera because it was coming down that low. I was getting squashed by that tent, and I had to have somebody come up to help me push that water off the roof. But
my God, you're lucky you didn't get electrocuted.
It worked out, and we got it in, and the people had fun, and just kudos to them. I can't believe how many people showed up for that, and weren't really complaining. They embraced it. They thought it was fun, man.
It kind of fit the whole night, though, right? I mean, it was Slam Fest, so why not be wet at the same time?
Yeah, they do run it rain or shine, as we see now. So, hey, Brian, we talked before the program to try and figure out the new starting lineup procedures, and I'm not going to, harp on it much because I don't know that we all really understand it. But you've been studying it. What's the biggest difference here? We're going to just have the top 2 stay the same, right? Did we lose Brian?
I might have. I don't know.
They do an A and a B. I don't know why they do an A and a B, but now when they get to the top 10, they're going to take the top 10 drivers are going to qualify again, and then positions 2 through 5 or rows 2 through 5, the A guys will be on the inside and the B guys will be on the outside. It's going to confuse the hell out of anybody that watches it because
right.
I don't understand why they're doing this, but. Hey, that's what it looks like. I don't get it.
2 stickers on their windshields like they did back then. Remember the
yeah. I still don't understand the A and the B format other than, and I remember Ed was a big harper on this when they started it, that when the A guys are out there practicing, they can interview the B guys, and when the B guys are out there practicing, they can interview the A guys. That seems to me to be the only reason why they do that, but I don't know. It's going to confuse it more. So basically, they're going to take the top 10. They're going to requalify again. If you're an A guy, and you're not the pole sitter, you're going to be in rows 2 through 5. If you're a B guy and you're not the pole sitter, you're going to be in rows 2 through 5 as well.
Remember
kind of a cluster.
Yes.
Yeah. You take one car, you take your time, line them up the way they qualified, and everybody followed qualifying and was really into it. I mean, we had a guy that had a 900 phone line. They used to have the results. People would pay to get the qualifying results. He sponsored our radio show for all. That's how important it was.
Sure.
And kind of muddied it up so much that people just, I don't really care about qualifying anymore. It's
a made-for-television event. The problem is you can't make it so confusing that, it's hard to follow what the hell is going on. Why does it need to be that confusing?
And they only do it in the Cup Series because the trucks and the Xfinity Series still do it the old-fashioned way. Everybody's in one group. They all qualify. Now they do the second round thing with the top 10 again, which because you're only getting one lap, I guess that's okay. I can accept that. I mean, the old days, everybody just went out there, did 2 laps, and that was that. I don't know. I mean, it all started with when they tried to do. Remember, they did the old. How many years ago was it where they did the land rush and everybody go out there and all qualify at once, and then when you were on a restrictor plate track, you had to be like the last guy to go out, and they'd all sit there, and some guys wouldn't even. I mean, it was a real cluster a couple of years ago when they did that.
Hey, speaking of love fests, Martin Truex and Hamlin seem to have a little something going. Hamlin offered one of his cars to Truex for the Daytona 500, and now they're talking about more races for Truex next year. So he just didn't want to be a full-time driver. That's what that was all about. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Remember USA channel today? The green flag is at 106, and unlikely they're going to get the whole thing in, at least today, so we'll have to watch close.
Christopher Bell for the win.
Oh, geez, yeah. Quick, I'll say 24.
Dan, I'll take Joey Logano.
Okay. Can't sleep.
I'll take Logano, too. I can't think of anybody else.
Why not? Real race cars have doors, even if they don't climb in through the windows. Let's Talk NASCAR is produced and directed by Dangerous Dan Margetta. Our engineer is Matt Losey. For all of us, thanks for tuning in. See ya.
This program has come to you live from multiple locations via Skype. Any and all comments expressed on this show do not necessarily express the opinions of this station, its employees, or advertisers. Your comments are always welcome at mail@ltnradionetwork.com. Find us at facebook.com/LTN Radio Network. And thank you for your support since 1985. Tune in again next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time for the LTN Hour on the LTN Radio Network.